Now, I'm not sure Bill Clinton is that popular in Russia, but evidently he can pull in enough of a paying crowd to earn $500,000 for one speech. Of course, this was after he met with Vladimir Putin in Putin's personal residence to discuss the matter. I just can't imagine if Trump went and met Putin in his house, not an official meeting place, but in his own house, and ended up getting $500,000 from him and for giving one speech. I just can't imagine him not getting a lot of flack over that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the press would have given him a break on it, as they did with Clinton. I doubt it. Hillary charged the poor country of India $1 million for one speech. The fact that they expected her to be the president of the United States after that speech, which she wasn't, that probably upped her fee a little bit. Evidently, it's worth $1 million to buy the favor of a Democrat. Nancy Pelosi was worth a staggering $140 million a few months ago. I would have been very shocked then if we had known that within a year she would more than double that number. Now she's worth about, what, $320 million? How did she double? More than double her $140 million. I'm sure she's got more stuck away someplace we don't know about. These deep state players, usually feminists, who look down on deplorable women who stay at home and take care of their kids and make dinner for family and launder the clothes themselves. These deep state players wash more money each year than the average American woman stay-at-home parent could launder in a lifetime. That might not seem so terrible if it weren't billions of dollars of our tax money they were laundering and then spending on themselves and their own pursuits and giving to our enemies. It also wouldn't be as big a deal if they weren't using our tax dollars to pay countries like China and Pakistan to compete against American companies, pay off American politicians for acts of treason, and buy military secrets from politicians that could end up killing millions of Americans or giving them, well, say, a virus. Perhaps we will get lucky and Moderna will sue Fauci and the CCP for sequencing the natural, quote-unquote, natural virus with a gene sequence that Moderna patented for cancer research a few years ago. I knew that Chinese like to steal patents on private and military technology, but it seems kind of dumb to create a virus using a Moderna patented gene sequence to alter it and then try to pass it off to the world as a naturally occurring virus. Okay. Investing in stocks as inside traders for profits, most stock experts could not dream of making, as Nancy and Pelosi and 45 other Congress people are better at making money in stock market trading than some accomplished professionals who have been in the business for years and who are trading without insider information. Okay, maybe that's the reason. Now, if Nancy Pelosi had been alive in 1929, as position she is now in Congress, assuming that she wasn't caught and hung, would not be destitute and broke like the other stock traders were. She would not be jumping off a tall building from having her hundreds of millions of dollars betting on stocks ripped away from her. No, she would be the one doubling her money right at the stock market crash because she would know how to get out of it. She would end up doubling her money, and then she would just tell John Q. Public to be sure you jump off a tall building, as you do not want to be injured and have to live through the incident. Nancy is good like that, so I'm sure that's what she'd say. Well, she cares about the pain of every American. Now, Vladimir Putin claims he wants to demilitarize Ukraine. Is that a valid reason for him to invade at this time? It seems almost as if the current administration has taken up the cause Barack Obama pursued years ago, to prod Putin as hard as you can, to get him to break and go crazy with his military. Joe sends Putin little questions or invitations, every little cues or invitations, every chance he can, and the public follows the misleading propaganda of the press and assumes that Joe is confused for saying, well, we won't help them if, well, say it's just a small incursion, or we're not going to help Ukraine if it's this, and he acts weak, and people think, well, it's just Joe Yeah, it's just Joe doing it on purpose. Doesn't have anything to do with him being insane or Alzheimer's or whatever. So Joe is not just confused Joe. He's not as quick as he was in his younger days. That is the past that they give him for all the stuff that he does. Why would Vladimir Putin feel the need to demilitarize Ukraine? Why does he have to go into the Ukraine to demilitarize it? Now, I mentioned that Putin does not want the Nazi Party to have too much power in Ukraine. That the CIA has weaponized these Nazis is not that well known. Not much more known than the fact that the Antifa tried to storm the White House when Donald Trump was president, and they put 50 Secret Service people, injured them, and they had to move Donald Trump to the middle of the White House for safety. That is never mentioned. But anyway, you know, the January 6th thing where nobody was killed except for a couple of the people that were supposedly storming in the White House. Now that gets the big attention. So why would Vladimir Putin feel the need to demilitarize Ukraine? He doesn't want the Nazi Party to have too much power. The CIA has weaponized the Nazis. Why? The inference is that the Nazis there would play the same role in the Ukraine and Russia as Antifa played here in North America. They would require the CIA, of course, help. They have to be much, much better than the Antifa and BLM is here, because they would require CIA help because they would have to shoot much quicker and faster and run faster if they're sent to Russia to cause disruption Antifa caused here. Much more serious situation, because Vladimir Putin shoots first and asks questions later. Unlike the Democrats here in the United States, who, when Antifa comes in, they just call it the summer of love. They're just great. No evidence, no violence happening here. It's mostly peaceful. While the press is harping about Vladimir Putin's aggressiveness, they do not question why Joe Biden built up weapons on the Ukraine border over the past year while talking tough about he can stand toe-to-toe with Putin. Unlike Trump, who's weak with Russia, which is why. And then when Russia invades the Ukraine, Joe offers his prayers to the good people of Ukraine. Nothing else. Okay? NATO has shown concern and even aggressiveness against Putin regarding the Ukraine. They must pray for the people of Ukraine as well, because otherwise they have been very silent and inactive on the matter. It has become public knowledge that there were several research labs active in the Ukraine. This was admitted by the Ukraine officials. But yeah, it was also admitted that 8 of these military research labs, sort of similar to the Wuhan lab that gave us Corona, well, 8 of them were under the control of the Pentagon. 8 research labs, messing around with viruses, probably, active in Ukraine and ran by our government, the Pentagon. I think I read, heard on the news one time that the Pentagon was a United States government installation and that it dealt with military issues. If Fauci had not been tied to the Wuhan biolab in China, where the COVID virus was manufactured by the Chinese Communist Party, I would find it not so easy to believe that our government would start 8 military research labs in Ukraine. Perhaps now the president of Ukraine is regretting that he admitted that these labs were there, because Putin is now invading the country.